Hey, it was saying I was having trouble going live. Hi, everybody. Tonight, this is exciting. We're going to talk about the Mystery Castle, Phoenix, Arizona. So I am going to roll my intro, and I'll be right back. Boom! Let's do this. Okay, I hope it's live because I'm always checking that. But welcome, everybody. This is a really cool topic. So I'm trying to revamp everything. I think I told you I'm moving everything to one channel. Both of them said Katie Horgan anyway. So Katie Horgan and then Katie Horgan, Arizona Realtor. Of course, I was trying the Viking on the Move and stuff. But you know what? I'm going to add travel and stuff to that channel too because Katie Horgan has a lot of things up here. Katie Horgan does a lot of things, including speaking in third person. And I think it's going to be really cool. And I'm really kind of like revamping stuff with like the first Tuesday being a mystery thing. So this, I know this looks like a mystery thing, but it's not really mysterious because we know the scoop. Okay. So I see somebody commented. I knew it was Pam. Yep. You're alive. That's good, right? Whew. Okay. So today we're going to talk about this inside the strange story of Phoenix's Mystery Castle. So here I have a dry cough and it's driving me nuts. So Michelle says, love this. I know, I'm so excited about this. So she said, and I have Michelle up here. She might be able to comment again. She used to be a delivery person for UPS, right, Michelle? She said she used to deliver to this address and she knew the daughter and she was really, really nice. So I'm kind of excited. So if you have a story that'll fit like in here, let me know. Like I said, I don't know who's on here unless you comment. I'd love you to comment. I'm actually going live on the YouTubes tonight as well because I figured I can edit later. So I'm thinking of all of it, guys. Okay, so here's the scoop. This is a castle. Okay, I'll show you this again. This dry cough is killing me. Okay, this is a castle that sits at the base of South Mountain in Phoenix. I should have shown you a map, but basically it's the south side of Phoenix, closer to Chandler or like Ahwatukee area. Okay. So if you lived here for years and had absolutely no idea that there was a castle here, join the club. I have lived here for 32 years, and I didn't know until this week as I'm actually looking at topics. So I've got the KandorwithKaty sun symbol because it's still hot AF here. It is. I'm so tired of it. I can't wait to go to the Netherlands. It's going to be so amazing. Okay, so again, it's called the Mystery Castle. And it isn't some developer's idea of a castle with a turret slapped onto a 6,000 square foot house. I read that description before. Michelle says, yep, she drove for UPS. Okay. I'm like, what's a turret? Like I've heard it before. I knew it, but didn't really know. That's a turret. That's a tower. That's a turret. That's a tower. That's a turret. That's a tower. So it's just a little thing. Okay. So it's got those. Fancy. It also has 18 rooms, 13 fireplaces. It has a chapel, which we'll get into a little bit later, a dungeon, balconies, secret compartments, a room called Purgatory, and a trapdoor that its owner was specifically forbidden to open until a certain date. We'll get into that later too. And it was built largely out of stuff that one guy found just lying around, like at dump yards and stuff. So let's talk about this. Okay. The story begins in Seattle with a man named Boyce Luther Gully. He had a wife named Frances and they had a daughter named Mary Lou. So Boyce and Mary Lou used to go to the beach together and build sandcastles. And as sandcastles tend to do, the waves would come in from the ocean and destroy them. And Mary Lou hated that. I mean, what little kid doesn't hate that, right? So according to the story, the legend, the lore, she asked her dad to someday build her a castle that the waves couldn't wash away. And that's where the story takes a really strange turn. I just didn't even realize. I didn't even look up. I wonder if I could look up his picture. Or I'll just include it later in the comments. But he disappeared. He left his wife and young daughter behind in Seattle, and he went to Arizona, here, Phoenix. And so the reason, according to the family story, was that he had tuberculosis. And at that time, tuberculosis could be a death sentence. Arizona's dry desert climate was considered beneficial for people suffering from the disease. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. My throat is so dry. I watch podcasts sometimes and I'm like, why do I drink water all the time? I know. Okay, so here's the weird part. Boyce came to Arizona by himself, and he didn't tell his family why. So occasionally, Mary Lou would receive letters from him over the years, but she grew up essentially not knowing where her father was or why he abandoned them. And I'm thinking, wasn't it stamped from Phoenix, Arizona? I mean, they had that back then, didn't they? So meanwhile, he was here. He was in Phoenix doing something absolutely insane. He was building her a castle. She had no idea. Okay. So here's the weird part. Like, he was building it. It was sometime around the 1930s, and he started like constructing this enormous house near South Mountain. He wasn't an architect or an engineer, and he wasn't terribly concerned about using conventional building materials either. He used rocks from the area, old telephone and telegraph poles. I actually looked up telegraph poles. They're essentially the same thing as telephone poles, which we today call utility poles. So railroad tracks, automobile parts, wheels, scrap metal, discarded bricks, glass dishes, and any other thing he could salvage from dump yards and demolition sites. Oh my God. One of the stranger parts of the construction, they had reported that Gully apparently used goat milk in the mortar. Okay. So according to Linda Spears of this Mystery Castle Foundation, I don't know when, he had learned Native American building techniques and added goat's milk to the concrete to make it smoother. So then suddenly it makes sense. So at the time, this is what's interesting though. This is basically in the middle of nowhere. And at the end of this podcast, I'm going to show you a few pictures as we're talking, and then I'll show you all the pictures. Okay. So it was in the middle of nowhere. There was no running water to the property. He had to haul water to the site, but somehow he kept building for years. And what resulted was this sprawling multi-level structure climbing into the side of South Mountain. So the rooms aren't necessarily all on the same level. They're all over the place. And there are staircases everywhere. And there are little odd passages and balconies. And this reminds me of the Winchester House in California. You know, the Winchester rifle people. That's a story for another time too. They built that. They kept building that like for years and years and years, and had like stairs that led to nowhere. And so it kind of reminds me of that a little bit, but wait until you see actually what it looks like. Okay. Then he died. So he moved here around 1930. He died in 1945. And Mary Lou was a woman by then. After his death, she and her mother learned that Boyce had left Mary Lou a house in Phoenix. So she had absolutely no idea what the house actually was. Can you imagine? So they came to Arizona, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, my father disappeared when I was a child. I've spent a lot of years wondering why he left, and then he dies, and then I'm in the Seattle area or the Washington area, whatever, and I gotta travel to Phoenix, Arizona to see the property he left me, and then sitting against South Mountain, you get here is this enormous handmade castle. That's not what you think. I don't know if I'm building suspense, but it's basically the sand castle he promised her when she was a little girl. So that had to be like this really weird, unbelievable moment. So especially without him ever explaining anything, I can't wrap my head around why he did it or why he didn't explain it, you know? So he also, oh my God, put a trapdoor in. A trapdoor. Okay, so according to the accounts of the castle, Boyce left instructions that Mary Lou was not to open a particular trapdoor until January 1st of 1948. Where was the trapdoor? It was in a room called Purgatory. I'm thinking he was Catholic, and then you'll see too, based on some of the pictures that you'll see. Of course it was called Purgatory. And Mary Lou actually waited. What I want to know, if you would have waited until he instructed, put a clock in the comments, because now ultimately, really, I probably think I would have waited, but I would also be severely tempted, because then I'm thinking, okay, well, it can't be something that is like a time bomb or something could go off and then the surprise is ruined. But then I would also be thinking, or could it? Because look at this weird castle built out of like glass and tires and rocks and all this weird stuff, right? So she did wait, and throughout those few years, she kept discovering all these little hidden things throughout the castle. So she'd find like coins and cash, jewelry, gold nuggets, and notes. So she'd find things that her father tucked into walls and hid throughout the property. So I wonder, like, is there still stuff there that we haven't found? And then January 1st, 1948 finally arrived. Life magazine, and I can't find the article, I don't know why. It had become interested in this bizarre castle and the mysterious locked away treasure. And they were there when Mary Lou finally opened the trap door. So what was underneath when she opened it? Well, it was a pit. Inside were more things that her father had left behind, including money, gold, letters, and a photograph of Boyce shortly before his death. Okay. And there's one tiny thing among everything else. It was a Valentine. It was the one that Mary Lou had made for her father when she was a little girl. Like, he kept it. He kept that Valentine for all those years in this bizarre pile of rocks and railroad tracks and car parts and goat milk mortar. He kept this Valentine. That must have been like some kind of moment, you know? So this is not the Life magazine article, but there was an article that was posted because this is going to come into play. Museum slated to open today. This is driving me crazy. Oh, hey, I didn't even see these comments. Okay. At the Nape, I think Nape, you meant to say Nape of South Mountain, Michelle says, and Mary Lou was amazing. I know I was thinking that with the telephone poles and the telegraph poles, cabers. I'm so sorry. I didn't get my notification that you guys had commented. Pam said I would have waited. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go here. So this is that. Okay. So here's the museum slated to open. And then Michelle says, she always said it was, he loved her and wanted her to have a castle that would endure. Isn't that a cool story? Isn't that cool that Michelle met her and got to talk to her about some of that stuff? So sorry I'm late with that. I'm still a work in progress, you know. But okay, so there you go. So there's a little article about it because here's where the Mystery Castle really took off. Okay. Mary Lou and her mother began opening the home for tours and people loved it. They loved it. Okay. There was weird stuff everywhere. And there's a guest house that was built around a living saguaro cactus. And those are the ones my dad calls cowboy cactuses because they look like, you know, their arms are up like this. And there's car rims incorporated into the structure. And like I said, glass bottles. And one floor was reportedly made from discarded school blackboards. What? So Pam said, why am I not getting these notifications? Okay, so Pam says, just when we thought Michelle couldn't get any cooler, then today happened. I know, right? We're going to see you in the Netherlands, right, Michelle? Okay, so I'm going to have way cool stories from there, too. I can't wait to do this. I've been doing, like, a longer form video every day on my channel, and then I'm actually doing all the shorts and stuff, and I've been finding so many funny things through the shorts. Okay, so here's what's cool. So the floor that was made from discarded school blackboards, that would have driven me crazy because it's that texture thing. Like, ugh, I don't think I could handle it, you know? All right, I'm making sure that I don't have any more notes on here. Okay, but the chapel developed its own strange tradition. Brides who married there were encouraged to leave behind one shoe for good luck and the promise of a faithful husband. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so here it is. I'll make it bigger for you so you can see it. Oh, hey. Okay, so it went back. Here's some of the shoes. So you can tell that they're old shoes. I mean, kind of cool, right? Okay, so this resulted in a collection of single high-heeled shoes. Mary Lou eventually became known as the princess of the Mystery Castle and spent most of her life there. She continued giving tours. Hang on, I'll move this out. She continued giving tours and telling the story of the place for decades. So apparently Michelle Crownhart might be on the inside scoop of this and has got some deets. She died in 2010, but before her death, she had created the Mystery Castle Historic Foundation to preserve the castle and keep it available to the public. And for years, that's exactly what happened until it didn't. The Mystery Castle has been closed to the public since 2022. So imagine how sad I am that I just learned after 32 years that this place is here and I can't go see it. However, I do have hopes. Okay. Years of Arizona weather had taken their toll on this weird structure that was built in the 1930s out of salvaged materials. You got to think about that. There was another problem, though, vandalism. And it wasn't just like somebody scratching their names into the walls or using spray paint. The Phoenix police estimated that the damage from vandalism could exceed $100,000. So by November of 2023, the situation had become serious enough that the Mystery Castle Historical Foundation applied for a full, wait for it, demolition permit. Crap. Yes, demolition. Well, it's still standing now, so just hang in there. The weird little castle that had been sitting at the foot of South Mountain for almost a century could have disappeared. And it wasn't because people didn't care about it. Preserving something this unusual is enormously complicated and expensive. Previous estimates put rehabilitation costs in the millions of dollars. And then preservationists stepped in. Thank God. Friends of Mystery Castle, a task force of Preserve Phoenix, began working to bring attention to the castle and figure out whether there was a realistic way to save it. And in 2025, the National Trust for Historic Preservation named the Mystery Castle one of America's most 11 endangered historic places. So I think I have that on here. Hang on one sec. Oh, there's the saguaro. Okay, do you see the creepy little skeleton there? You'll see like another picture of it later. Like they had all this weird stuff in there. There's the saguaro in the guest house. All right, so this was the company that bought it. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And this is on here. This is kind of cool. Share screen. Now, think about how big the United States is. Okay, let's think about that for a minute. Oh, hang on. I lost it. Hang on. It is on the 11. It's 11, like America's 11 most endangered historic places. So you'll see these here, and then boop, there it is right there. Castle in the desert. So bottom right or bottom left. I don't know what you're looking at because I see now that I say that my little thing's over here, but it's really here. So I got to say, hey, there's my little son right there. Okay. So, so suddenly this strange little Phoenix landmark was getting national attention. Whew. And then something really cool happened. That's when they bought it, the Harrell family. And this is the part that makes everybody, or makes me feel considerably better about the whole thing. They didn't just sell 7 acres near South Mountain to whoever showed up with the biggest check, which is amazing. And as a realtor, I know that's something really unique, especially in this kind of market. According to the Arizona Preservation Foundation, there was a community-driven process to figure out who should happen to own the property. Nonprofits and private developers were considered. Potential owners were evaluated based on their vision for the castle. Hang on. Their financial ability to actually pull it off. That was another. Obviously, they're not just going to sell it to someone that thinks it's cool and has $5 to their name. Their experience rehabilitating historic places. So this is interesting too, because as a realtor, we have to deal with appraisers a lot. And so if you are buying a historic home, for instance, does that appraiser have experience with historic homes? So you're not just going to sell it to someone that's just like, yeah, I'm a fix and flip kind of person. I'm just, going to just do whatever, put lipstick on a pig, as the quote says. But they really wanted someone that knew what they were doing, especially with a unique place like this. Okay. So they wanted to know whether they could sustain the property long-term. So not just fix it and leave it. And so then the Harrell family of companies was selected. It had experience with all of this, and they committed to preserving the Mystery Castle. So their plan is to rehabilitate the property and develop it in phases as a destination event venue. So just like the weddings they used to have. So they'll have weddings and gatherings and hopefully a way for people to experience the place again. So that doesn't mean that we're going to be able to walk up there tomorrow and buy a ticket because the castle is still closed, but there's still a tremendous amount of work to be done. Okay, I saw something else now. So Michelle says, so glad they found the right owners. I know. It's amazing. Like, so, I mean, that's a huge, I'm going to show you the pictures here in a minute, but it's like, what a cool, like, piece of Phoenix history. And I didn't even know. Okay. So, oh my God, because we're talking about a nearly century-old handmade castle built from rocks and railroad tracks and automobile parts and God knows what else, I'm guessing that you can't just call a contractor and ask for an estimate. So the future looks hopeful though. Okay. So there's still a lot we don't know about Boy Scully. How did he actually build something this enormous? Okay, let me just show you some of these pictures really quick. So, like Wrigley Mansion. I know, that's what I said, right? It's so interesting. So now I'm going to have to talk about that because that's still kind of a mystery. Okay, let me show you. Oh my God, some more of these pictures. All right, so it was actually made. It's added to the preservation list. So thank God. And this is what it looks like from far away. And I'm also going to show you that you can just type in like Phoenix Mystery Castle, and all these will come up. Look at these interesting things. Like if I can zoom in, what was that? Would you consider it a castle or just a house? Right? Look at the view from the inside. There's a lot of Native American, what's it called? Like thoughts and stuff in it too. So that's a really cool area. I'm trying to think of what it reminds me of, because it's like, I'm like, did she have air conditioning? She must have, right? So there's an old organ, and I'm only including 2 pictures in some of these because just to save space or whatever. Look at this cool bedroom, and they've got all kinds of weird trinkets in there. Like there's a little doll, like a bear dressed up in a thing, and then there's like another view there. So it's very, very, very eclectic, very weird. There's the bear right there, and there's like 13 fireplaces. Like you need that in Phoenix, right? So these are some of the outdoor things, and these are stairs. There's a mother-in-law room, it says, so that must be the inside right there. So like imagine walking up those stairs at night. By the way, Michelle says, like the guy who built Coral Mansion, Wrigley should be next. Right? I have so many things I can research now. It's awesome. Okay, so these are like knights and stuff in there. Look at that weird design on the floor. Looks like centipedes. And then there's a table. So, I mean, I'm just quickly going through these because they're just really interesting with the rock and stuff. Okay, there's where that creepy like skeleton was. This might be the room purgatory. Look at that kitchen sink with the tile and stuff, like the rocks. I mean, you can look at all this yourself, obviously, but pretty neat. Pretty freaking neat. So, like, how did he build something this enormous, right? Did anybody help him? Where did the money come from? Did he have actual plans, or did he just start like piling stuff together, right? Like how much stuff did he hide in the castle? Like I said that before, like would we still come across stuff if you're on a tour and you find something? How cool is that? And did Mary Lou ever find all of it? So nobody really knows. So the complicated part of the story is that Boyce built his daughter an extraordinary monument to how much he loved her, but he also disappeared from her childhood, right? So like, as I said before, you were already sending letters. Maybe mention why you disappeared. And wouldn't it have been postmarked from Phoenix? Like both can be true, right? It's just weird. But nearly a century later, the castle's still standing. So I'll put the picture up here again because it's pretty nifty. Castle's still standing. A little girl's sandcastle that the waves couldn't wash away. And that's kind of cool, right? The ocean never got a chance to wash this castle away, but time almost did, and so did vandals, and they almost demolished it. So Pam says, so curious how he collected everything. His vision was all over the place. I know, right? Like I can appreciate someone with scattered thoughts and things, but so Michelle says he used what was available according to Mary. Yeah, I mean, he went out. So they did say that he went out in the desert, and he went out into junkyards and stuff like that, and he got stuff from there, which is like insane, right? So after coming frighteningly close to disappearing altogether, somebody saved it, thank God, that the Herald Company. And so maybe Boyce actually accomplished what he promised Mary Lou all those years ago. He built her a castle that didn't wash away. And if those doors ever open to the public again, who's going with me? Let me know. Oh, hey, I messed up. I'm supposed to do all these things. I'm learning all these things. I'm supposed to, hit like and subscribe at the beginning. But if you're on the YouTubes, you can just like this video if you're on Facebook or whatever. So thanks for joining me tonight, you guys. This is really cool. Oh, hey, I forgot to bring Sid Squatch out. Here he is. Whoops. He says the journey begins with you, so be good to yourself. And this is me. So I'm going to see if I have any comments because that's gotten a little bit different. Okay. Oops. Okay. So I will see you next week. Okay. Thanks for joining me. And Michelle, that was awesome. So love to know some more stories. All right. Bye, guys.